What is going on, guys? It's your boy here again, Dean, giving you another amazing deck profile. This time is going to be the Princess Sword deck that has been featured on the channel a couple times. I want to do a deck profile over it because I don't think the deck is perfect. There's a couple changes I want to make. I want to talk about those, and then also give you guys like a new type of sword to maybe try out at locals, because it is pretty cool. And I just feel like the footage that I have currently of the deck doesn't really show you what we're going for, so that's why I want to do this video over it. So we see a lot of different 1-drops here, 15 different 1-drops, some 2-drops, and then we got some 7-drops in here. We got this Cinderella. I think once you guys like understand what the deck's going for, you'll see it's kind of sick. So yeah, let's get into the deck profile and hopefully give you guys maybe another thing to try out at locals. That's right. So first off, we have triple Octrice Feria. This card is just there because it's neutral. It's more importantly, it's a Fable and it's a Princess, so it works with both of our cards. And we're going to have in the deck later, and it's a Goblin. Triple Bellringer Angel, just a 1-mana cycle. It's a card hit off of Fina. It's a more important thing. And a hit off of Pompous Princess, because we are playing both of those. I don't know if Pompous is right. Fina's pretty good, though. Also, I really like Pompous. We have Triple Maid Leader, definitely one of the better cards, because we're going to be playing 2 of the Evo as well. Being able to search any card with E means that we're able to find our Octrices, our Alices, and even our Jerrys if we want to. So a very powerful utility card, definitely a nice 1-drop, of course a hit off of Fina as well. Triple Old Man and Old Woman has Fable, and it's a 1-drop, so it's going to be a hit off of 3 different top checks in the deck. Super good utility card with the Bane. Triple Kiss of the Princess. This is the one that people might not be familiar with, though. This card is kind of insane. What do we have here? We have, if there's a Princess Fall on your board, this costs 1 less to play because it costs 0. And we can choose one of the following. We either get to choose a card on our board and give it +1 attack and put a Fable counter on it. This is important for some of our later cards, but also it's important for dumping our hand, which since we do play Maribane, the Omen of 1, you know, we want to have a low hand size sometimes. It's going to be able to like blindside our opponent when we go from a 5-card hand to a 1-card hand out of nowhere. Thanks to like holding onto this and then also getting that damage push. But alternatively, we can select up to 3 Swordcraft followers on our grave, return them to our deck, and shuffle it and draw a card. It's up to 3, so you can choose 0. So you can just shuffle your deck, draw a card. Or you can put like 3 good cards back into your deck. It really is your choice. Very powerful card. Also it has Fable trait, which means to hit off of Alice. Triple Fina. This is the best 2-drop that Sword has on 2, because Octrice is not a 2-drop, despite saying 2 in the top left corner. It's realistically like a 5-drop that refunds mana, is the best way to look at it. This card lets us top check 5 for a 1-drop, which is going to be why we play such a thick 1-drop line. Or we can pop a 1-drop on our opponent's board, and it's got a 3/2 offensive stat line, which is going to go with our slightly aggressive game plan. Fina, of course, it's like a $3 gold. People know this card's great. It's like one of the best cards. This is like probably the best card since Bellringer, as far as like cards that you want to be buying for almost every deck. We have 3 Octrices as well. For those who don't know, fantastic sword card, mills 2 on play, and when you play it, or sorry, at any point if your opponent has 10 cards in grave, you can evolve it for 0, otherwise it costs 2, and it has some fake effect for 8 that we're not going to really talk about. More importantly, when you evolve it, you get to grab a card out of your opponent's grave. That's not actually what's important. The important thing is while evolved, cards in our EX area cost 2 less to play if there's 10 cards in our opponent's grave. That's why this entire deck works, is we are playing Alice to load up our EX area with Fable cards, so then that way Octrice can discount them after we evolve her. Definitely a very powerful combo there. And we also have cards like Goblin Princess, which on evolve put the big-ass token into our EX area. Well, guess what? Now he's a 2-mana 6/6. Suddenly this deck is like, you know, it's got some legs. On turn 6 or 7, we're going to be able to pop off, play the Octrice, mill a couple cards. All of the setup we've done throughout the rest of the game on turns 3, 4, and 5 is going to be like rewarded with this massive board that we're going to be able to play out and hopefully win the game from there. Triple Usurping Spineblade. This is just like our removal spell that mills a card, and then if our opponent has like Grave, then it's an even better removal spell. This card is kind of mid, but it's not that it's mid. It's just like this card's actually really great. Sorry for calling it mid. This card is insane. 5 damage for 2 mana on a quick. The thing I was talking about mid is that we don't have really enough. One of the problems with the deck is we don't generate enough gray for our opponent. If you don't notice, we don't play the 1-drop because we are having to shove Fable cards into our deck. So we don't have the Usurpation package in full. Our hope is that like these cards force enough cards out of our opponent that this thing just comes down on 6 or 7 and then meets the 10 condition. So this one is not going to be doing the 5 as much in this deck as it might be in a pure Usurpation deck, is kind of the thing. And it's also not searchable. So you might only get like 1 instance of it throughout an entire game. Next up is we're playing Triple Alice. It's one of the big cards in the deck. We're going to be able to get a Fable counter, move it anywhere. So it's going to be comboing with our Rapunzels and our Cinderellas. But more importantly, on Evolve, we're going to be able to load up our EX area with a ton of Fable cards, hopefully. We do have quite a few hits. 3, 6, 9. Herself as well. So that's like 12, 15. We have 18 hits. It's good enough. Usually hit 1, miss, hopefully 2, but like, 1 is not terrible. It's only really bad if you whiff on the Evo. And then we have Double Goblin Princess. This is just another card that's going to help us generate EX area with the Evolve. But also we're going to be able to pull out a Bell Ringer and get a free cycle, or possibly a Fina if we're going to be more aggressive. Though I don't recommend Fina because then our other cards are more likely to whiff. So I do like going for the Bell Ringer as far as the search off of the Goblin Princess. Double Pompous Princess. This is a much better. I think this card's insane. I love this card. Princess trait, Commander, top check 5, put a 1-drop into play. This is one of my favorite cards. I like the 3/3 stat line. Super aggressive. Look at that 2/1. Easy to kill. 3/3. A little bit harder. Takes at least 2 mana. And then you still have whatever shitter you summoned out left as well. We have Triple Rapunzel. This card is, it's pretty good actually. 3 mana, 4/5 ward. If there's a Fable counter on it, it can't, unless there's a Fable counter on it, it can't attack enemies. The more important thing about this card is the fact that in this deck specifically, we're going to be able to put it into the X area. And while I think that this card is very hard to play outside of 3, if we can play it for 1 off of an Octrice, that this card is insanely good, right? Like anything, when you put -2 on this thing's cost, suddenly I'm a big fan of it. It also leads into our aggressive game plan. There's a 1 of Aurelia. This was the original Japanese list. Take this card out. This card sucks. The problem with Aurelia, and I think this is a problem that I know a lot of people are high on this thing, this set. I don't understand. I'd rather play Alexander if I was going to be playing a card like this. Rush, Assail, Ward. Okay, these are cool. And then if our opponent has 3 cards on the board, it gets +2/+2 in Aura. The only thing that this really comes up against that's good is something like, it's like if Egg has already exploded and doesn't have a board or something crazy, like right, there's like not a lot of like good board states for this thing to be in. People are already teching to beat Marwyn, or at least they should be teching to beat Marwyn. But usually your opponent doesn't have 3 things on board where you can afford to not have this thing tap. And the second that you tap this card, all of these other keywords and all of this health and all of these cool things that it does are really nullified by the fact that your opponent, like your opponent had 3 things on board and you had to kill 1 of them, right? Unless it's force and they have like Spring Green plus Harvest plus like, I don't know, something terrible like an Elfchild May. This thing probably has 5 to 4 health left. Everything kills it. That's the problem. It's like not only do it killed 1 of like 3. So it's right, they had 3, you take them down to 2, you go down to around half health because you had to remove the big threat. Next turn they just play a card, Evo it, kill it, and then they still get the other 2 chumpers into you. And so like I really don't like where this card goes, because the board states where it's live are usually not board states you can choose to ignore. So usually it just dies. So I would take this card out. It's a whiff on everything. It's your 41st card in the deck. It has no reason to being there. It's not even searchable off of any of these cards. Like, let's be honest. We don't play Gunner Meets Seiryotennan. Just take this thing out. It's bad. Okay, now that we've gone over why I think that's the cut, and maybe it's a couple other things, you could probably trim some other stuff and put in a little bit more Usurpation stuff. We have Triple Jerry. Why do we have triple? Because of the next card we play. But first, we'll talk about Jerry. 5 mana, 5/5. At the end of your turn, if there's 2 less cards in your hand, like reminder, because the princess, a couple other cards that we have, we're going to be able to dump our hand quite aggressively if we need to, and out of nowhere. We're going to be able to deal 3 damage to each enemy leader, but if there's no cards in your hand, it's also a board wipe. The no cards in hand, very hard to get off. Even the 2 cards in hand is like kind of situational. More importantly, on Evolve, at the start of the end phase, he untaps, and it once again, if there's 2 or less cards in hand, this time it's 5 damage to the enemy leader, and if there's 0 cards in hand, 5 damage to the board as well. So it's going to be a massive board wipe that also, you know, like untaps, but more importantly, it's incremental burn damage. And why are we playing Jerry? 1, he's searchable off of Maid Leader. 2, we're able to get this hand dump, and also Cinderella, 7 mana, 5/5 Storm, and on attack, if you have a Fable follower, okay, sorry, on play, if you have a Fable follower, you get to put a Fable counter on her, and on strike, if you remove a Fable counter, you get to top check 4 for a 5-drop follower and put it onto the board. The rest go on the oh, it looks like the rest get milled actually. So the idea is with this, we're going to be able to summon Jerebane, and then also we can like Kiss of the Princess to be able to give her a little bit extra attack, and then also meet the hand condition of Jerebane, while also maybe having a loaded up EX area with like an Octrice in the background, just waiting to go in. Or like maybe on 7, you can even do something crazy, like if you have a because like Octrice would discount this way too, right? You can go Octrice, Cinderella in EX area from previous turn, Evo, steal something from your opponent that costs like 2, Cinderella out for 5, summon a Jerebane, get like 6, 7, 10 damage. Just a lot of big pushes on that like mid game or mid to late game, right? Like right before, a little bit before the Marwyn turn. So yeah, that's the deck. I don't think this is like regional winning. Definitely not. But locals, this deck's kind of sick. You know, you don't have to have it go right too long to win a locals. And some of the plays are definitely unique, so it's a fun one. If you guys like this, smash that like button, hit that bell. I'll try to get you guys some more decks. Let me know what you guys want to see on like gameplay deck-wise. I'm going to try to find it for you guys, or make it myself if I have to. Until next time, this is your boy, Dean, signing out.